From Fox 13, the most powerful name in local news, this is the Fox 13 News at Noon.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's been the strangest election season in years. One of the worst labels a candidate can have this round, incumbent. If you believe what the polls and the experts are saying, tomorrow is going to be a difficult day for incumbent Republicans and Democrats. Democrats in general, maybe. And the Tea Party movement is expected to make some huge gains. We're going to have some fun today looking at all of this. In the studio, Karen Post, the branding diva, also author of Brain Tattoos. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And from Washington, what a pleasure, Chris Wallace, the host of Fox News Sunday. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, Russell. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, because I know you're very busy right now. Let's talk about this election season. You've been watching it from there. Is this the strangest you've seen in a long time?
Well, it's certainly yes and no. And the reason I say that is because there has been this sense of a Republican tidal wave, at least since this summer. And what I think all of us in politics do is, because we're nervous about straight line projections, if this is the way it is in July, this is the way it'll be in November, we've been expecting something to change, but that wave just keeps coming and coming. And it looks like it's going to hit the beach with a lot of force tomorrow, and that the Republicans really are going to sweep the political landscape away.
There's so many polls we could talk about, but I want to talk to you about one we had this morning for the first time. And this is a Gallup poll that says 49% prefer a Republican-controlled Congress, 43% want Democrats to stay in charge. But listen to this. Almost two-thirds, including half of the Democrats, want to see a significant change in the way President Obama leads the country. I think that's important in what, even though the president is not running tomorrow, in a way he is, isn't he?
Well, yes, and you look, this has been the big fight, the battle of the narratives between both sides. The Democrats have wanted to make it a choice. Do you like our candidate or their candidate? Is it going to be continue on the path we're on? Are you going to go back to the bad Bush years? But the Republicans have made it, and clearly the voters, according to that poll and everything else I've seen, are basically making this a referendum on Obama and the Democratic leadership of the House and the Senate. Basically, I think they put them into control in Washington last November of 2008 because they were unhappy with the direction of the country. They wanted them to fix it. They especially wanted them to fix the economy, and they feel they failed to do that. And Democrats, I think, are going to pay for it tomorrow night.
Chris, I want to bring Karen in on this, but with this subject, you had Marco Rubio and Charlie Crist on your show some months back. They were, at the time, Charlie Crist was still a Republican and the primary was going on, but you had both of them there, and they talked on that Sunday morning. And then over the months, things have changed. Charlie Crist became an independent. But Marco Rubio, and I'm going to steal from Karen right here, said he's essentially become a rock star. One of the people on the cover of Time magazine this week. What do you make of this young up-and-coming guy?
I think he is. If he wins tomorrow, as expected, I think he immediately becomes one of the hottest prospects in the Republican Party. First of all, he's an enormously attractive campaigner. He seemed to tap into the frustration, the sense of alienation on the part of a lot of voters early on. It's a great personal story. The son of Cuban immigrants, a real kind of up from the bootstraps American dream story. Not to mention the fact that he's from Florida, which is always a key state, and that he's Hispanic. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised by anything that happens to Marco Rubio, up to and including being on the presidential ticket as the vice president, as the running mate in 2012.
I want to bring Karen in on this, Chris, because you were telling me earlier, you say he's a great communicator.
He is a wonderful brand. How he has been packaged, how he communicates, his spots, even when he brought in controversy and was doing some mudslinging, he did it in a very eloquent way. And he's a very likable person, whether you agree with his positions or not. He's done a fine job from a branding perspective.
He's 39.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
got
39.
Four kids?
Yeah. I mean, this piece in Time magazine, Rubio sounded positively Reagan-esque as he brought down the House earlier this year at the annual Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington. I mean, I'm sorry we're not talking about the other candidates, but I mean, especially in this race, it's starting to look like he's going to win this race tomorrow. He really is. There's something there, don't you think?
Oh, he's back to...
And Russell?
Yes, go ahead, Chris.
If I can jump in, because I'd like to ask Karen a question. I mean, you talk about branding. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Marco Rubio is a conventional politician. I mean, he was the Speaker of the Florida House for a long time, and yet somehow he seems to have rebranded himself as the outsider. As Russell said, incumbent's a dirty word this year, and he somehow doesn't bear any of the stain of being a career politician. How has he been able to rebrand himself so effectively?
Well, one of the key components to a powerful brand, whether it's a company or a candidate, is how they storytell. His storytelling skills and his authentic, true story have been major points in his emergence to the public.
And Chris, do you think it matters that he is not currently in office? I mean, do we forget did we forget the job he had before? I mean, or is our memory that short?
Well, maybe, but it certainly doesn't hurt that he isn't. And also, he really, and I think Karen's right here about storytelling, not only for himself, but also on the other side. Remember, this all started with him very much as a distant long shot against the incumbent governor of Florida, Charlie Crist, running for that Senate seat. And he tapped into the hug, the embrace, literal and figuratively, that Charlie Crist gave Obama in February of 2009 over the stimulus package. And basically said, why would you want to elect a senator who isn't going to stand up to Barack Obama's agenda? He's going to embrace it. That was a pretty effective piece of branding right there.
Hey, Chris, we're going to take a break. Karen, we're going to take a break when we come back. Chris, I need to ask you about the Tea Party and some other things as well, so stick around. Your turn continues.
You bet.
After the break. Welcome back, everybody, to Your Turn, talking with Karen Post, the branding diva. Chris Wallace, Fox News Sunday, with us in Washington today. Hey, Chris, I want to talk to you about the Tea Party movement. Expected to make some huge gains tomorrow. What's your take on all of that?
Well, and we had Sarah Palin on Fox News Sunday yesterday, and just as we were talking about Marco Rubio, I think Sarah Palin really tapped in. I mean, look, there's just this mood out there in the country. People are very frustrated. They feel alienated from Washington. They very much oppose the Obama agenda. They want less government. They want less spending. They want lower taxes, and they want more kind of holding to first constitutional principles. It is genuinely a grassroots movement. I know there's talk about racism or extremism, but when I've been to events like the first National Tea Party Convention in Nashville in February, it was America. It was small businessmen and women. It was professionals. And I think they're going to have a real impact. And the impact isn't going to end on Election Day, because if they do as well as I think they're going to do, both in terms of just turnout and electing Republicans in general and electing Tea Party candidates in particular, then both governing going forward, the Republicans in Washington, and then also candidates looking to 2012 in the presidential race, they ignore that Tea Party agenda at their peril. They're going to have a continuing role to play and an influence on the whole political debate in this country.
And Karen, I mean, when you do watch the Tea Party movement folks talk about what they want, what they expect, there is something basic, something genuine there that I think throws a lot of establishment types off. They don't quite know how to grasp that, right?
Yeah, I think the movement, because it's a mix of Republicans and Democrats, all ages, but the momentum is incredible. And, and just seeing these large rallies and events, I mean, even over the weekend, the comedy event that happened,
the Jon Stewart thing,
I think just goes to show that grassroots effort can have a huge impact on races.
Chris, let me ask you a question. Besides the races here in Florida that we're going to be watching closely, and we've got a governor's race that's still just too close to call, what big races are you watching tomorrow? Anything that you've taken particular interest in around the country?
Yeah, I'm going to give you two races, and they're for slightly different reasons. I think the signature race of this election is the Nevada Senate race. I mean, on the one hand, you've got Harry Reid. He has spent 24 years in the U.S. Senate. He's the Senate Majority Leader. He is the symbol, as much as Nancy Pelosi, anyone other than Obama, and of course he's not on the ballot, of the Obama agenda and the way the Democrats have done business the last 2 years. And he's running against this Tea Party long shot, Sharon Angle, who beat two much more established candidates in the Republican primary. I think, and certainly according to the polls, it looks like Reid is at the very least in trouble and could well lose to Sharon Angle. If so, that will be the marquee race around the country. And then just an early warning race. I mean, if you don't want to go to bed early and you just want to get a sense pretty early on what's going to happen, the West Virginia Senate race, very popular Democratic Governor Joe Manchin. This is the seat that was held by Robert Byrd for 50 years, running against John Racy, a businessman. Republicans almost have to win this race, turn a Democrat to Republican, if they're going to get the control of the Senate, pick up the net gain of 10. If Joe Manchin holds on to that for the Democrats, then I suspect the Democrats will hold on to the Senate.
Chris, we got a minute left, and I want to ask you a quick question. What's your prep time like for tomorrow night? I mean, have you got the book there? Can you show me it?
Well, yeah, I'm taking it out here. This is it. I've got all kinds of things, you know, Senate races, House races, governor's races, all kinds of clippings. I mean, I was thinking about it, Russ. It's like nothing so much as cramming for a final exam. Yeah. I've got to be pretty conversant with every single, not House races because there are 435 of them, but all of the 37 governor's races, Senate races, and the key House races. And, and there are, this is really odd, there are a couple of guys named Rick, including Rick Scott in Florida, and I've been mixing up Rick Scott and Rick Snyder. So I've got to get those straight before tomorrow night.
You will be excused if you make a mistake or two along the way. Hey, Chris, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having time.
My pleasure, Russell.
Visiting with you today. Good luck tomorrow night. Appreciate your time. Karen, thank you.
Thank you.
This was fun today.
It was fun. I can't wait to see the results.
We'll be right here with them tomorrow night and also at the Fox News Channel. Thanks today to Chris Wallace in Washington, Karen Post, the branding diva here in the studio. Thanks to all of you for watching.